Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jesse, the Couch Movie Critic, and once again we are back in the kitchen. And today we're doing a review, and I know it's been a long time coming, but we're doing a review on the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man. I can't just speak enough about this game. I held off on doing a review for a little bit only because of the fact that I got so hooked into the game that I had to finish it. So I can give you guys a full review, beginning to end, spoiler-free, about the game, the mechanics, and the storytelling, and my opinion on what I think it is. As you can see, I'm using the art side of the actual cover on the game itself. You would have seen this if you watched the unboxing review I did on it. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the game. Game's been out now, I want to say a little bit over a month or so now, and it is impressive, to say the least. Going down the list of things that were really amazing and made it a well worth buying game and making it, in my eyes, a AAA and the beginning of hopefully a AAA franchise on a must-have series of games. Number one, graphics. It doesn't matter if you're playing this thing on a PS4 Pro or you're playing it on a regular PS4. Visual eye candy. I mean, it's amazing. Down to the point where if you take the time and you actually IMDb the cast of voice actors in the film, you'll realize that they modeled several of the voice actors' character after the actual voice actor. Aunt May, for example, is pound for pound the woman who plays the voice, so that's quite impressive. On the sides of voice acting and the cast, it's amazing as well. Now let's talk about some of the stuff that, other than the artier side of the fan base enjoys, the actual gameplay. I have played Spider-Man games going back into the late 80s, early 90s in the arcade. I played games like Maximum Carnage, Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, you name it, I've played it. I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. One of my first superhero tattoos that's visible on my arm is Spider-Man. I actually have Spider-Man and I have Venom on the other side. So I'm a big fan. I'm also a big fan of Batman and Superman and all things comics. But Spider-Man's one of those intro characters. And if I could tell you that this is definitively, as far as gameplay is concerned, the best experience, takes the best of what was learned in the older games and adds new details and making it the best overall experience. If you are from the Northeast and you've been to New York and you've ever been to the island of Manhattan, just traversing the island itself is amazing. There's a photo mission you do in the game, which is just a side quest. It's one of the standard side quests, just like any other games. The sights, the sounds, the vibe of the city is all there. Traversal as Spider-Man is not only fun, it's actually well done. The mechanics work, they function. Occasionally, just like any other Spider-Man game, they can go a little wonky and shoot you off to the left or to the right, and sometimes landing can be difficult. But it's the same as if you were moving like that as a real person, in my opinion. Just a great traversal mechanism, and the overall way that you transport and move your way through New York City is just beautiful. It even gets down to a point where when you later on get in the game, and it's not a spoiler, a lot of people know about it, it does, just like a lot of games, give you a fast transport from point A to point B where you actually ride the subway in the game. And again, beautifully rendered, but just a great simple mechanic that adds super nice touches and layers to the mechanics. Your fighting mechanics are really, really interesting because a lot of people early on assumed this was going to be like Arkham. That it would give you warnings and you would dodge and you would combat and it would be very fluid. No, this is really giving you the idea of a small, wiry fighter like Spider-Man with an immense amount of power, but you need to know how to maneuver. So it's definitely one of those things that's really, really cool, very intriguing. It's very much a departure while embracing that kind of genre of gameplay, but don't get fooled and think this is Arkham, like I said earlier. It's definitely its own game. Everything from the aerial combat mechanics to the ground-based combat mechanics to the web fighting mechanics are rendered beautifully. They're useful, they're talented, and there are dozens of different upgrades for weapons and powers. And what I love about this game that's different from a lot of Spider-Man games that you've played in the past, that they give you the first level or first section of the game where you start out super powered and then you lose your powers and you have to slowly build them up. In this, you start the game as a Spidey and slowly enhance him from there. So the gameplay quality is just there for playability, functionality. Insomniac did an amazing job. Now let's talk about one of the other really big important points of this game. And you've probably heard it if you read some of the articles out there, but as a fan, and a fan who admits that, I cried in Avengers Infinity War when Spidey died, the guys at Insomniac took the idea of great gameplay with great storytelling to task. This is a game that it has your standard traversals, it has your standard side quests, but the core of the game, the emotion of the game, the story that's being told, that's not just revolving around Spider-Man, it's revolving around Spidey's personal life as Peter Parker, playing as Peter Parker, playing as Mary Jane, and even at some points, slight spoiler here, you play as Miles Morales. There is a gravitas and an emotion to what's happening. It isn't just your standard villain strike. There's an emotional core behind what's happening. There's a major plot twist, and it's a hero's journey. At the end of it, it's truly the tale of sometimes what a hero has to sacrifice for the greater good. And I will tell you right now, if you're one of those people that gets pulled into well-written stories, this game will do it to you. Prepare yourself for some very deep emotional moments. Prepare yourself to laugh and prepare yourself to cry as well. But prepare yourself to be amazed, because he is truly the amazing Spider-Man in this game. Voice acting, you know, I'll let you do the research, see the IMDb stuff. That way you see what I'm talking about with the character designs if you played the game. But voice acting is bar none. It's a fantastic job. Down to the NPCs and the environment, to the actual voice cast. It's playing characters like Otto Octavius, Norman Osborn, characters like the Rhino, Scorpion, Vulture, to Aunt May, to Miles Morales, to even Mary Jane. Just an exemplary cast. This game is, in my opinion, one of those games that just genuinely, they went all out. A lot like what happened with the new God of War. Definitely pulls at the emotional heartstrings, and the acting, the gameplay, the graphics, everything, pound for pound, is just A-list across the board. Trophy acquisition, for those of you guys that are trophy hunters in PlayStation, this is a game with some very realistic goals that you can achieve. I finished the game and didn't realize in the traversal and playing of the game that I was actually only one trophy away from getting platinum, and it only took me about an additional 10 minutes to actually complete that trophy and go 100% platinum on my PS4. And I haven't done that in years. I mean, just years. I'm talking like almost a decade. Actually, no, I think I did that the last game I did that with. Sad enough to say, it was probably a Telltale game. So there's been some out there in the last couple of years, but a legitimate game that you have to play, do things, mechanics. Green Lantern, 2012, 13, whenever that came out. This is definitely a game, if you're a fan of Spider-Man, if you're a fan of well-written stories, if you're a fan of great graphics, Insomniac outdid themselves. Go out, do yourself a favor, get yourself a copy of Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. I can't expound enough on how much I would recommend this game. Even if you've got to buy it used or wait a little bit longer for it to go down in price, it's worth it. I'm currently debating on if I'm going to invest in buying the DLC, because it is one of those cases where there's a very much hyped about DLC that involves the Black Cat, additional suits, but the main storyline was so good, you can go without it. I hate to say it that way. I'm not trying to downplay Insomniac or their chase for cash. I'm not going to hate on them for it, but it's one of those things where I might do it only because it may be a little bit more fun to have that component, and I may not do it just because of the fact that it was such a well-told story. I want to revisit it again, and I love the idea of doing it, but I think this will just be more added layers to it to make it even better, but I don't think you can beat the actual ending that's just included in the original content of the game. Another side note, for those of you guys that know, like I said, I pre-ordered this thing, so I did get the additional suits up front. You can still unlock those suits during the course of gameplay. You don't have to pre-order to get all the suits, so there's definitely something achievable. Definitely want to do some research. There is a hidden suit, the ESU suit is what I'll tell you about it. It involves a hidden camera mode that's only achievable at level 50, but it is definitely something worth doing because you get to see some of the lesser known sites of New York. And let me tell you again, being from New Jersey, originally raised in Florida, getting to go back to see my dad in Jersey as a kid all the time in the summers and the winters, and getting to go to New York on a regular basis, it is one of those things that if you've had that experience of the awe and the beauty of New York, the city, the pulse, the people, the game captures it amazingly. So in my opinion, guys, this is a definite must-have. I hope this is the beginning of a AAA franchise like God of War or Assassin's Creed. If it's not, it's just still one of the best games involved. I mean, he's so well-received. Marvel's already put him in the comics. Spider-Geddon Zero introduces this version of Peter Parker with the advanced suit. For those of you that have seen the trailers for Into the Spider, somebody already even noticed that there is a scene in the trailer where you actually see his suit on a computer monitor. So we may even get to see him into the Spider-Verse. So it's definitely very, very cool. I wanted to make sure I got the review out. I promised you guys I would do it, so I wanted to make sure I did. And my recommendation, definitely go out and get it. As always, guys, I appreciate you watching the videos. I hope you're enjoying them. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.